Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of talking to Malik Harrison today. And Malik, I'll start with this. There's one play that stood out to me on Sunday, and it was, Saquon Barkley coming to the game. Oh, he's back. Yeah. He's having such a great year. And then it's the direct snap to Saquon. It's like, ooh, they're breaking out the tricks. The direct snap to Saquon. He takes off of that, and then this big dude comes and just levels him for a 5-yard loss. And that big dude was you. I mean, that play had to feel pretty awesome for you.
Definitely. Making big plays is always, a plus for the defense and, just bring up the energy.
Yeah, you seem like you, knew that one was coming. You just knew that play. Did you, read that immediately? How'd that work?
I just read it, I think I was off the edge and I was just blitzing and I was just, it was either he gonna keep it or he's gonna give it. So I was just anticipating one or the other, and
right.
you
guessed right.
I got it. So, yeah.
What on a scale of 1 to 10, just how good does a hit like that feel on a back like that?
You definitely 10. It's a big back, so he get all the praise. So just getting that hit was good on.
Yeah.
So you had a big increase in snaps in that game. 50% increase is the most you played since early last season. And Coach Harbaugh said this week that basically you're earning more playing time.
Yeah.
When you're playing well, you get more playing time. How happy are you with the way that you've been able to play early this season?
Oh, I'm proud of myself. Just from last year to starting to not start, and then this year just getting more snaps as the year going on is always a plus for me. It's always that's just like a reward for me that I know that I'm getting better now.
You're kind of doing a little bit of everything. Okay, so what position are you, Malik? You tell me.
I say as of right now, I am a complete linebacker.
Just linebacker.
Just all the way linebacker. It's not no outside, no inside. I'm just a linebacker. I'm a true definition of a linebacker. I can be on the line. I can be off the ball. I can do a bunch of different things. So.
Yeah.
Does that kind of take you back to high school? Because I remember basically this, when the Ravens drafted you, and you're reading all the scouting reports, and it's like, look, this guy in high school was literally do it all: quarterback, running back, linebacker. You did everything.
Yeah.
Does it kind of remind you of that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because when you going around and you playing in one game and you just have a whole bunch of positions, you have to really know what you're doing, and then as the whatever personnel is coming in, you gotta just remind yourself, all right, I'm playing Sam. All right, I'm playing Mike. All right, I'm playing the wheel. All right, I'm playing a dime. So, just a constant reminder that, before every snap, all right, this is what I got to do. This is my job, and, just things like that.
How did it start last year? Who came to you first to say, hey, we want to start trying to work you at outside linebacker a little bit?
I think it was Wink. Wink, called me in. I think that was the week I had came back from, an incident last year. He told me, and I was like, hey, that's cool with me, anything to help the team. And, I played a little bit at Ohio State, so I'm like, it's not nothing new to me.
Right. Are the responsibilities really different? And, what are the pros of inside linebacker versus outside linebacker for you?
I think, the outside backer, everything happens so quick.
Yeah.
Because you're already at the line, inside backer, you got more vision. You got more time to, just adjust and things like that.
Yeah. So what do you kind of prefer?
Whichever one get me on the field. That's the one that, I like.
Yeah.
So I think that the mechanics of it are kind of interesting because outside linebackers and inside linebackers are typically in different meeting rooms, right?
Yeah.
So which one do you go to?
I go to inside, but, Zach, sometimes he'd tell me, hey, just go over there and check in with them. Or, if we out doing indie, I do half and half.
And I think that fans don't kind of realize all the aspects of it that goes into it. I mean, you got it from a game plan standpoint, you have to be ready to know, every position. Has this, basically force you to have to study more than
definitely. You got to study. Every time I write down my notes, I have a category for Sam, I have a category for Mike, and I have a category for Dime. Just for me to, just get just a feel for every position. And then, even if I'm at the Sam, I still got to learn the mic. I still got to learn the dime because, one man go down, then, I might have to move and go to mic when I'm usually playing Sam at the time. So, just it does make me, you got to, study more.
And so does that mean you also have to study a lot more players on the other team? Like you're like, I might have to go against this dude or this dude or almost every guy.
Yeah, it's just a part of studying film, things like that.
Right. So I'm curious, going into your third season, we've talked to Patrick a lot, and he's talked about, he seems to put a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Year 3, kind of a make or break season. Did you feel a similar way going into this year?
Definitely. Like we talked about it all season too, me and him. But I know me personally, I was like, this is the year, because the first 2 years I ain't, I made some noise, but it's been an up and down, and now this year I'm just constantly just going up. So it's big. It's it's year 3, and then hopefully if I do what I'm supposed to do, get extended.
Yeah. Can you talk about your relationship between you and Patrick? Because it's funny, he seems like kind of like I was saying, like he seems like a more emotional guy. He feels like you're kind of a chiller dude. You know what I mean? Like,
so he's more the electric, got all the celebrations, stuff like that. Me, I'm more calm, don't really say much, but you might see me say something here and there. I got celebrations in my head, but I'll be like, do I want to do it or not? So I'll pick and choose when I want to.
What are you working on from a celebration standpoint? And like, what is it? Does that have to be a sack or a turnover? Like, what is
the 5-yard loss on Saquon? I got to go back to the film. See, did you do anything?
I think that one, I just look. I don't know which way I look. I just looked, just tapped my head, and got back.
That's not a celebration.
It's a little, a little something. The picture came out good, so that's all that matters. But as far as I feel like as far as like the celebration, I think it's just got to be the right play. Right play. The right timing of the game, and if it's tie game or anything, I'll pull it out.
It's always so funny too because I feel like I've heard guys talk all the time. It's like, oh, I was practicing this one. I had this one ready, and then you just lose your mind.
You just forget.
You just forget. Like, I had that one ready.
Hey, it happens too fast, and then you got a short little window to do it. So you got to do something.
Well, when you're riffing, that's when you have a chance of embarrassing yourself too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that, and that's the last thing anybody wants.
Exactly.
All right, so more on a serious note, I want to go back in time a little bit here. And November 1st, 2021 was kind of a life-altering day for you. So you got struck in the calf with a stray bullet during the Ravens bye week, right? And that put you on the shelf. Can you just talk about, did that kind of change the arc of things for you? Like, how did that affect you as a person?
Just the way that I move and who I, associate with, that definitely, changed after the situation. It did take me into like a little dark spot just because, I was out for 3 weeks and then, I couldn't been here. Like,
right.
it could have been the other way, but, I was blessed enough that, it just went straight through and I was able to come back like real quick. I actually was running after the Minnesota game. So, that's always a plus that, it didn't really set me back. But them 3 weeks, I did rehab hard, ice and things like that just to hurry up and get back on the field because I did not want to miss no more time.
Right.
That was the most boringest 3 weeks ever.
right. Just rehabbing. But that's got to be scary. Mentally, like how long did it take you? You're talking about the physical aspect, which I understand. Football players, you kind of think about that in rehab, and I got to get back on the field. But mentally, that's some trauma.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? How hard was it for you to get past that?
It was very tough for me. One of my best friends, she deals with a lot of. She has her own. She got her own little thing with mental health and athletes. It's called the silent injury, and I was talking to her a lot because she knows me. She know I won't say nothing, so she basically made me basically talk to her, and then after that. I started to meet with Dr. Triss, probably like once a week, and I'm still doing it till this day.
Oh, so that's great.
That's definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Just on the mental health front, how it's kind of cool to hear you talk about that because I feel like that is something in the sports landscape that has been much more openly discussed in recent years. And can you just talk about how helpful those conversations have been with Dr. Tricia and your friend to kind of help you on a personal level?
It helps a lot. Just being able to just talk to somebody, and just get off just get the weight off your shoulder. Just keeping it in will have you not being yourself. Kind of be distant from people. And just put you in a dark spot. But just being able to just talk to someone, someone is always going to help you out.
Mm-hmm. Right. And do you think that's like even more important when you're NFL players? Mm-hmm. You're on a pedestal to a lot of people out that watch. Have been watching you since you've been in college, and when you get to the pros, there's high expectations, and there's all this stuff, kind of going around. Is that an important piece to help manage all of those expectations?
Oh yeah, definitely. And, it just puts you in a safe spot. You can just reset and, just block everything out, and you can just talk about anything. It don't even have to be the situation. Just talking about anything, just on your mind, just having somebody there that, that is there for you, and that's just there to help you.
Yeah. From the football perspective, it was also tough, like you said, the missed time. And then when you came back, it's just hard to kind of assimilate. I mean, you only had one defensive snap the rest of that season. Yeah. Right? It was really just special teams. And that had to be another kind of blow that was difficult to get over, because you started the year as a starter.
So, yeah, that definitely did. But, I just, clicked in my head that, all right, I might not get no defensive snap, but, I'm going to help, in practice, and I'm going to just be the best special team player that I can be.
Right. And going into this offseason, this past offseason, was that really something that ignited something in you that was like, I got to get back to kind of that trajectory I was on?
Yeah, definitely. This offseason, I didn't even leave. I was here in Baltimore, so I was getting back more into the community, and just I found a trainer out here that that I liked, and I actually was happy about it. I made a lot of connections here in Baltimore. I actually love Baltimore now.
Right. That's cool.
Well, you grew just like me. Grew up in Columbus, so I always love talking about Ohio State football with you.
Yeah.
Did you when you were growing up? Did you want to play for the Bengals or the Browns?
No, I actually didn't. I was more of a player person. So,
okay, so you just like guys.
I was more of I didn't, really get into the, the Browns or the, Bengals, being a favorite team, so I was more of a player person.
Correct.
And which players? Which players were you really big fan of?
They had a pretty good linebacker here, right?
I had is Mike Vick, definitely Mike Vick, Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, just.
Oh, too many offensive guys.
But you played quarterback,
I was
right?
playing quarterback.
Right, that's true.
So you got to think
right.
about it. I was the guy that liked the person that whoever get the ball for real.
How many smaller kids who were in high school at linebacker try to tackle you? How many dudes did you run over?
A lot. Is it I run over them, or they're just I'll just outrun them, or I always say this to everybody. I had the best stiff arm in the state. That's what I always said. I say I got the best stiff arm in the state.
Did you think you were going to be like Ohio State running back?
Oh, no. To be honest, going in, I didn't know what position I was going to play.
Yeah.
But, once I got there and I saw my number, I was like, yep, I'm a linebacker. That's the first thing I said. I said, oh, yeah, I'm a linebacker.
That's funny. So do you have, you said you weren't really a Browns or Bengals fan. Do you have a lot of family that are Browns fans that they're going to be watching this game? Like,
actually, I don't.
Interesting.
I have
smart. This is a smart family.
I have some, here and there, but as far as like my immediate family, no, not really. Like none of them was really, no Browns or Bengals fans.
So there's no like special meaning to playing the Browns for you.
I mean, just going back home, like when we play away, that's always something to be proud about, going back home and, representing your state, but on the other side.
Now they come in with the league's number one rushing attack led by Nick Chubb, the league's leading running back. You're a big dude. He's a big dude, physical runner. Like, how hard are these collisions going to be on Sunday?
It's going to be a car crash every collision. It's going to be a car crash every collision.
The other thing that's kind of cool about this game, I'm not sure if you know this, but the 2012 Super Bowl team is going to be in the house. It's a reunion game. So 10-year reunion. So Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Haloti Ngata and Terrell
everybody's
Suggs.
going to be here. Okay.
The guys are going to be back here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big one.
This is a big one. Okay. That just made it even more bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Were you like, I got to believe that when you talk about guys that you watched growing up, like Ray Lewis.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like when he's in the building, and you like, does that just add a little bit of juice?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just seeing him and seeing how he played out there, it definitely like, all right, I don't want to let him down, And funny, I had a story before the draft. Actually, I was training down in Florida, and I had went to one of his events, and like I got to talk to him. And like this was way before the draft, and like we talked for like at his event, like he stopped whatever he had to do. We talked for a good 30-40 minutes.
Wow.
Then next I stayed in contact with him for a couple times. Then next draft come, I get drafted. I straight called him, text him. He was excited too. So that was crazy. Yeah, that was.
So
crazy.
what did you talk about? Like, what kind of knowledge did he pour into you?
He was just telling me, the game changed. Because I was that thumper coming in. He was just telling me that the game changed and that I need to change my body, need to change, just do little extra things that to fit into this game.
Interesting. So do you think he put a call into Ozzie and Eric and said, "Hey, this guy, I like him"?
I don't know if he did, but if he did, I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Malik. This was a pleasure, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank
you.
you.
You got to show. Wait, before we go, this is on camera. You got to show some of these tats, though.
Yeah, I got a lot of tats.
You have a good tattoo artist,
Hey, it's my guy back at home in Columbus.
Yeah, I like it. It's on camera. We had to show them off a little bit this time.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Malik.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Thank you. All right, thanks to Malik. Really enjoyed the conversation with him. Good stuff. Also, we want our listeners to know that the sports landscape's always changing. This week is no different. DraftKings is a leader in daily fantasy sports, and it still has daily fantasy contests running for those who are looking to have skin in the game. So that's simple. Every player has a salary associated with drafting them. You assemble a lineup of players, and you try to stay under the salary cap, and then you sit back and you watch your points pile up. So now you know how to play. Sign up today using the code FLOCK. New users will get a free entry with their first deposit. Again, the code is FLOCK, and that's at DraftKings.com. Yes.
Well done.
Way to finish it off.
You're welcome. So, yeah, I thought that was good stuff from Malik. And interesting, inside linebacker, I think, was looked at a position like, do the Ravens need to make an addition? That was a talking point earlier in the season and even in the offseason. And, Malik's elevated play has really kind of quieted some of that. He's playing good ball.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that he's going to see over 50% of the defensive snaps every week. The Ravens, I think, kind of wanted to match big with big, but this could be another week where he does. The Browns are a downhill running team. He's a thumper. He can bring it. So it wouldn't surprise me if we continue to see, like John Harbaugh said, that role grow and Malik be a very important part of this defense.
Yeah, if you look at the AFC North in particular, so you have obviously the Browns with Nick Chubb in that running game.
Najee.
You also have Najee Harris. So when you're playing those division games on the second half of the season, I think we're going to see a lot of Malik Harrison. I also think it's going to be interesting how the Ravens use him as Tyus Bowser comes back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Tyus practiced last week. He's practicing again this week. He's not yet been activated, so he's not eligible to play yet. That could happen this week. We'll see. And so once Tyus is back in the mix, is Malik still in that Sam linebacker role? It was kind of interesting, his answer, like, I'm just an all-around linebacker. And, I get that. Like, I think he's looking at it, whatever position they put me at, as long as it's within the white lines, like, I'm good with that. Like, I prefer to be on the field.
Yeah.
And he's making the most of his opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. So how do you feel about this game? Big game against the Browns coming up. I feel like these division games are always circled, obviously, on the calendar. But when you look at the division right now, Ravens sitting at 3-3, tied with the Bengals. The Steelers 1 game behind, the Browns 1 game behind. It's anybody's division right now, really. Now, I think there's some stronger teams than others. But to me, like, this year in particular, it feels to me like, you know what? If the Ravens sweep the division or just win in the division and win that crown, like, it's there for the taking. Mm-hmm. And it just feels to me like these division games, especially given the painful losses the Ravens have already suffered, it's like, well, you know what? If we win in the division, we're going to be okay. Right. And I think that this Sunday's game is just a must win. It's a really big game for getting that done.
Yeah, I think that, like, look, the Ravens are 3-3, and everything that they want to do is still out there for the taking, right? So it's
sure.
not like there's not necessarily cause for concern. They still go 14-3, right?
Well, you haven't been reading Ravens Twitter then, apparently.
I have been reading.
Oh
I have
my
been reading.
goodness gracious, it is spicy.
But
out there.
I'm saying from a standing standpoint, there's not cause for concern.
Sure.
And so they can certainly still win the division. They can, get a top seed in the AFC. There's still a lot of season left. But you got to rattle off some wins, and you need to take care of your division.
At some point, you need to get hot.
Like, you can say, like, there's a lot of season left and all this stuff, but, like, you got to win games.
Yep.
And they've been win-loss, all 6 games throughout the season. So
which lines up for a win this Sunday.
Which lines up for a win, and then you hope the trend
and then we got to break the trend, right?
And the trend is
over.
over.
The trend for right now.
But yeah, like, you got to win your division games. That's really important, because I could see a situation where the Bengals and the Ravens have the same record at the end of the season. You start getting into tiebreakers and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So winning division games is imperative.
Yep.
And you also, like, I think right now the division is going to come down to the Ravens and the Bengals. I don't think the Browns and the Steelers are going to be in the division race at the end of the season.
Right.
However, if the Browns hang around and they get Deshaun Watson back late in the season,
then
all of a sudden they become a much more dangerous team.
Yeah.
So don't let them hang around.
Yeah.
Take care of them now so
Completely.
that they don't have an opportunity to win their final 5 games.
Yep.
And once Deshaun Watson comes back,
Yep.
you need to deliver them some losses right now, and obviously that's the case on Sunday.
Yep, completely agree. That leads into a good email here from our guy Patrick Kuhn. Okay, and frequent emailer. We appreciate it, Patrick.
What's the email address that listeners can email?
Oh, you can always email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. They know the email address.
I'm just making sure.
They've been pouring
I tell you
in.
what, they definitely know it on Sundays after a loss.
They for sure know it.
I hope the listeners forget that email after Sundays after a loss.
But it's funny. Like, we had a lot of salty dogs on Sunday after the game, but now things are starting to turn. Like the mood of the emails, you're starting to it's improving.
It's kind of like you always talk about. Wednesday, the press conferences take place. You see the guys at practice. You start looking ahead.
Exactly.
Turn the page. You're feeling good.
Well, and you hear John talk. Like, John Harbaugh is just a great leader, right?
Yeah.
And I always feel better even after a Monday press conference with him. I'm like, all right, we got this.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So this one comes from Patrick. He says, after a 3-3 start of the season, which could easily be better or worse. Really don't see much worse.
I don't either.
Yeah. Anyway, he said, I wanted to say I think there's still plenty to be excited about. In my eyes, I don't see a single game left on the schedule that doesn't look like a potential win. This is our game.
The 14-3. The 14-3.
I'm pretty sure Patrick has had a mic in the lounge, because this conversation sounds a lot like our conversations. Okay, you ready? Goes, Browns rebound game, dub. At Bucks, Thursday night road team, but after last year's Thursday night loss in Miami, I know these guys want to get right. Dub.
Yeah, I like how
last year's logic.
Yeah. Not just the team. Now you're just motivated by Thursday night football in general.
Yeah, exactly. At Saints, primetime Monday Night Football, dub. Bye week, record 6-3. Panthers, dumpster fire, dub. At Jags, rebuild year, dub. Broncos, Russ ain't cooking nothing, dub. At Steelers, likely a rookie quarterback, dub. At Browns, Deshaun's probably back starting at this point, but he hasn't played in forever, so I'll say dub. Falcons, dome team playing late in December football in Baltimore, dub. Steelers, final home game of the regular season, dub. At Bengals, toss up but likely needed for playoff seeding, so dub.
Go ahead, sign up.
The rest of the way. Sign me up. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's no doubt.
That sounds like us.
There's
in the
no
lounge.
doubt, right?
Yep.
That sounds like us after a win.
I mean, that's worst case scenario.
Worst case, you don't lose another game.
That's worst case.
What's best case?
I don't know. Every other team loses, first round bye.
Okay.
I mean, with this, if you're dubs in the rest of the way, you probably do have a first round bye.
I like that, Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Thank you, Patrick, for a little injection of optimism.
Yes. All right, let's get to another email. You got one from Jason Fish, right?
Yeah, that's right. He says, gents, what's up with Prochet? He was significantly outsnapped on offense this week by Tylan Wallace, and now we are signing Deshaun Jackson. I get that that's to the practice squad, but you don't sign a 36-year-old to the P squad unless you intend to elevate him. Agreed. Is Pro in danger of getting cut outright? It won't be Wallace, as he's the only wide receiver that plays on special teams coverage units, and I don't think we have the roster flexibility to carry 6 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, 5 once Kohler's back, and a fullback. So what do you think?
So, all right,
The question is what's going to happen with Pro here once they elevate Deshaun.
Okay, so let me get to that in a second. There will have to be some roster juggling because in addition to Kohler potentially coming back, you also got Tyus Bowser and David Ajabo and Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
So who all could be back soon.
Yeah.
So there's some maneuvering that could take place.
Yes.
With Deshaun Jackson, I'm kind of working my way back to front here on this answer. With Deshaun Jackson, obviously he was added to the practice squad. They do have the ability to activate him on game day twice before moving him to the active roster.
Right.
So you could get 2 games out of him once they feel like he's ready to play. Maybe it's this week, maybe it's Thursday, maybe it's down the road. We'll see. He's had 1 practice at the time of this taping, so we'll see. But you have 2 games there, and then he could potentially get added to the active roster once you see, if you feel like he's a guy that can help you, then you could potentially make that move. Now with Prochet, John Harbaugh was asked about him this week.
Just specifically to James Prochet, he's a guy that we have a lot of high hopes for. I mean, I think James Prochet is gonna step up in the next few weeks, and you're going to see him make some plays. So we were in some bigger personnel groups last week. The team we were playing, the Giants, that was a bigger team that we felt like we wanted to match big for big a little bit in certain situations. So that group wasn't on the field as much. James only had 3 plays, I think. He's going to be playing a lot more in the future, and he's going to be making plays for us. I got no problem with James Prochet.
So your question, no, he's not getting cut. In fact, the Ravens have high expectations for him down the stretch. So that's what John Harbaugh told the media yesterday.
Did you see the interview with Steve Smith Sr. and Shannon Sharp?
I did. He said that Prochet is the most complete receiver on the team.
He did. Well, the only problem, though, is he also mispronounced his name. He called him Porsche, which is, not a bad name. Porsche. Sounds like you're fast.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of interesting from Steve Smith.
Yeah, I thought it was I don't know that I Rashad Bateman's pretty darn good.
He's pretty darn good.
He also
Duvernay's look pretty darn good this year too.
Yeah.
I like James Prochet. I think he's a player, and he's made plays in training camp practices, and I think though, to me, when I look at specifically, I'll just point out one play, right? So the Lamar fumble at the end of the game that kind of sealed the loss to the Giants, right? The Ravens went, I think it was 3 wide receivers and Mark Andrews split out wide, right? And so they were going to throw the ball, and Prochet was lined up in the slot, and he kind of went deep, right? And that's not really Prochet's best route. He's a tough runner in the middle, or not a tough guy over the middle.
Yeah.
I think a chain mover. That's James Prochet, right? Just a tough dude, sure hands, good player all the way around. But if you need a guy to kind of stretch the seam and a burner, that's Deshaun Jackson. And to me, look, even if you just say, and this probably, I'm sure the Ravens' thinking on Deshaun Jackson was way more complex than that, but if you're you know what, if we have that play come up again, if we need somebody that to take the top off, I want that guy who's made a bunch of 50-yard catches in his career. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And let's take a shot on him. We'll see. Right? And just because they signed Deshaun Jackson doesn't mean going to be wide receiver 2 or something for the rest of the year. John Harbaugh said, nowadays with the practice squad, you can sign these guys and see what's going on. Right?
Yeah.
They did it with Dez Bryant, and it was kind of an experiment, and you get what you get, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dez Bryant, just using that as an example, I don't think it's the exact same scenario, but there's similarities.
Yeah.
It took a while before Dez Bryant was called up on game day. It's not like he was signed on a Monday and then active on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It took a little while. So, Deshaun Jackson talked with reporters this week, said that he feels like he is in shape, but there is a difference between football shape and feeling like you're in shape.
Totally.
And also, this is no surprise, but his expectation, his hope, his goal is not just to be on the practice squad. He's got bigger hopes than that.
For sure.
So he's hoping to get moved to the active roster at a certain point.
Obviously,
and help his team. So, I think that how he does in practice will determine how soon that happens.
Yep. All right, I have another email here. This one's from Ted Henson, who lives in my neighborhood. What up, Ted? Thanks for emailing.
Ted's got an inside track on the inbox.
That's right. We talk at the bus stop in the morning sometimes. Okay. So he says he just wants to apologize because the Ravens' losses are on him. He said in each one, he had to stop watching in the fourth quarter. This past Sunday, it was his son's 7th birthday party. Maybe we'll give him a pass for that one.
You keep that on in the background. The kids can't play. You can't keep the game on. Make it a football themed party, Ted. What are you doing?
So he said, so I'll try harder to watch the end in the future. He said, seriously though, he's read that the Ravens have only trailed for a total of 120 seconds in their 3 losses. That's not bad. I'm still extremely confident in this team, and especially in Lamar. We have too many great players not to be a great team.
All right. Yeah.
I concur.
Look, I think that this team, as we said on our reaction podcast on Monday, I think this team has, and this is kind of what John Harbaugh's message, I think, has been this week. Like, the foundation is there.
Yeah.
Like, the core components of this team, the scheme, the roster, the ability to make plays, it's all there.
Right. You know what? Let's take a minute to just talk about what's going right.
Okay.
Right? Because it's just been a tough week, right? Here's what's going right now. The offensive line is playing very well. And that's going to make a big difference, especially as we get into colder months and you're able to run the football, which is also particularly important for winning games in the fourth quarter. Because if you get a lead and you're able to run the football, you should have success in protecting those leads. Unfortunately, it didn't play out this past weekend, right? The Ravens didn't salt that game away, right? They had the turnover with the snap and the interception, all that stuff, right? But like, if you're projecting, right, whether the Ravens are going to be able to close out games, improved offensive line that's run blocking very well and you're able to run the ball, those are components of protecting leads.
Yeah,
right?
And just as a subset of that, I think it's important to say, like, Ronnie Stanley has come back. He's playing more. He played way more than he did the first game, and he's playing like Ronnie Stanley.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is huge.
Right. I mean, the offensive line improvement matters through every quarter. I'm just also saying, like, a big difference that we could see moving forward and why I have hope that they'll close out more games in the fourth quarter is because that run game has improved. That's an important thing for this team and for this offense. Okay, let's talk about another one. Guys are coming back from injuries. Right, so Bateman back on the field this week. Justin Houston back on the field. Justin Houston was the best pass rusher through the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Bateman, obviously, you know what he brings. Right, and you have Tyus Bowser, Gus Edwards, like we talked about, David Ajabo. Those guys are waiting in the wings. Charlie Kohler. Right, those guys are waiting in the wings. So the Ravens are getting healthier, getting guys back on the field. That's going to help them. I think defensively, the corners are playing really well. Marlon and Marcus, I think the third corner has been a little bit of a soft spot for this defense, that they need somebody to kind of step up there and play consistently well, right? But Marlon and Marcus are strapping guys up. The secondary's given up a lot fewer big plays than they were as they were in the beginning of this season, right? Against the Dolphins, obviously. They're not giving up ones over their heads. So that's an improvement, right? So things are trending, and then you have Lamar still, right? Lamar didn't play his best game against the Giants, but I'm feeling a Lamar breakout game coming. It's only a matter of time before the Lamar breakout.
So you took, this is like classic Lamar breakout. You take Lamar as your breakout player this year. He's gonna.
Yeah, he's my breakout player of the year. The surprise.
Everyone's
player,
been sleeping on Lamar. By the end of
the
season, everyone's gonna know Lamar's name, right?
I'm just saying, as much as it feels like things are bad, when you have Lamar Jackson, you're pretty good. You're in pretty good shape. And let's be honest, he's the best quarterback in the division. That's right. I said it, Joe Burrow. That's right. I said it. And so I feel good about the Ravens' chance of moving forward. Like I said, I just have a gut feeling about this team. I just really do. I feel like they're going to be, when all is said and done and you get this adversity early in the season, I think this is going to be a good team. I still believe that.
Yeah, look, I think the Ravens are a good team. I just think, as I have said before, they need to eliminate the self-inflicted wounds that have cost them
for sure.
Key
red zone
moments.
was a new problem that popped up in the Giants game. You need to iron that out. I mean, they're 10th in the league in red zone production. You want to be higher than that, but that ain't bad.
Yeah.
Right. That popped up. The penalties really cost them against the Giants. Those are two things you have to get wrinkled out.
And I'll just say,
Lamar
Jackson,
out, not wrinkled out.
You want to wrinkle them up, put a big ball, get that T-shirt soaking wet, throw it in the corner, forget about it for a year, right?
This is getting back to the zebra stripes.
Yeah. So, Lamar Jackson said this week, in terms of the red zone, basically he feels like at times it's almost kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They get down there we're in the red zone, we got to score, we got to score, we got to score. We're in the red zone. He's like, we got to stop doing that. Just stop doing that.
Stop overthinking it.
Yeah, of course we're supposed to score. This is what we do. We get down to the red zone, we score. Don't overthink it. Just keep playing. You marched all the way down there. Keep doing the same thing, and don't make too big of a deal out of being in the red zone.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I really get the sense that the players and the coaches feel like this team is good. They have to kind of clean up some key areas of these self-inflicted wounds and these be better in crucial third and short, fourth and short situations. But at a very high level, foundation's there. This team is going to be okay.
Right. Offense is ranked 5th in the league. It ain't all bad.
It's not bad.
That ain't bad. You want to be number 1. 5th ain't bad in points scored. Ain't bad.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a good game against the Browns.
And before we go, so we mentioned that the 2012 team is going to be here.
Yeah.
We have
What's this?
This is a little bonus item here.
Ooh.
This is a Ed Reed signed football.
No. Get out of town.
And this is going to be in my basement. No. This is a we're giving away a whole bunch of prizes.
That's pretty sick.
And there's a little spin wheel. It's kind of a fun game you can do on our website. So go to BaltimoreRavens.com/contest.
Pass that over here. We'll just do a swap-a-rooney. Pass that right over here.
So go to BaltimoreRavens.com/contest, play this game, and you have a chance to get this item as well as a handful of other items from that 2012 team. So it should be really cool having that team back. I know they got a whole weekend of festivities planned for the 10-year reunion. Get to the game early because there's some recognition before the game with these guys that you're not going to want to miss. They're going to be introduced before the game, so it should be really cool. Make sure you're there early. If you still need a ticket, BaltimoreRavens.com/tickets. It should just be a fun time having these guys back and going down memory lane.
Last thing before we go, I want to do one key to a win for each of us, and this is really because I just had a good one, and that is you get up early on them, which the Ravens have done a good job of that. Obviously, it's been the fourth quarter that's been the problem. Nick Chubb gets more eliminated from the game. He's not a pass-catching back. He's a really great runner. You can't let the Browns get out to a lead because that gets Nick Chubb going. But I think the Ravens' MO of building leads, particularly against the Browns, a team that has Amari Cooper but not a ton of receiving weapons, Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, I think that this game matches up well for the Ravens as to jumping out to a lead and then you kind of eliminate their best player.
Well, I mean, look,
not eliminate, but
I think it's kind of interesting because if that happens, then you can kind of get over the monkey off your back of the fourth quarter struggles.
Yeah,
so basically you're saying do what you did the last, in all your losses, just do that again.
Right.
But this should be actually an opportunity where you can hold on to that lead.
You close it out a little bit better.
I think,
and protect the football. I mean, really, it was not protecting the football that hindered them.
Yeah, what I'll point to, and I've mentioned this a few times this season, I want to see this team really excel in crucial third down situations, really on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
I think that there's been times where the defense can get off the field late in games and they haven't been able to do it. And for the offense, you can basically put the game away. They had a chance to put the game away pretty much on that play that was taken off the board because of the illegal formation. That's the stuff that you can't happen.
Yep.
Be better in those crucial short yardage, third down, fourth down situations. If they do that, I think they're going to get a win.
How big a win?
You tell me.
A big